Just a warning, if you are a guy or you don't like talking about vaginas or blood, then click away now. Hello guys, I hope that you're all really well. My name's Lucy if you're new here, and I am a parenting and lifestyle blogger, vlogger, Instagrammer type person. If you like what you see here, then don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you here. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be talking to you today about periods, in particular menstrual cups. So the particular menstrual cup that I'm talking to you about today is a moon cup, and it looks like this. So if you haven't heard of a moon cup before, it is also known as a menstrual cup, and it is an alternative to using tampons or sanitary towels. Scott likes to call my moon cup a period bowl. Gross. So my period story, in short, I've always been a tampon kind of girl. Sanitary towels just do not do it for me whatsoever. The only time I would really wear them is at night time. I just feel so gross when I'm wearing one. I can see why people want to wear them because they don't like the thought of a tampon, but I just feel really uncomfortable. I feel like I'm wearing a nappy. I feel like I'm sitting in blood. It just doesn't feel very, it just doesn't feel very hygienic or sanitary to me. So I really don't like using towels. So I've always been a tampon kind of girl. I never had any problems with tampons before I had Harry, so I found them really comfortable. I never had a problem putting them in or getting them out or anything like that, and everything was good. And then I had a baby. I had a normal vaginal birth, and I started to use tampons again, and I just noticed that they just didn't sit right. I would leak with them and they just didn't feel as comfortable as they used to feel. I guess there was changes down below and my body just didn't really like tampons anymore. I also was getting a lot of bladder infections, and I noticed that if I had a bladder infection when I was on my period and then used a tampon, it made the bladder infection so much worse, if not caused it sometimes. So I feel like it was irritating. Obviously that hole is very close to where your wee comes out, and that is where I have the problem, in that sort of hole and that tube. So I just feel like it was really irritating my bladder. Another reason I had to stop using tampons is because I'd watched a video that really freaked me out, and it was talking about the chemicals that are used in tampons to obviously make them and keep them fresh, and how there's been scientific studies how they could be cancer causing, and also it's a chemical that you're putting into your body which goes into your bloodstream and can affect your hormones and all sorts. So it just kind of like all these things put together were just making me think that I shouldn't be using tampons anymore, and they just weren't the right option for me anymore. So those were my main reasons for wanting to try a menstrual cup. I also wanted to try one because it reduces the risk significantly of toxic shock syndrome. If you haven't heard of that before, Google it. It's horrible and can be fatal. And a menstrual cup is also super environmentally friendly, which I know everyone is so big on at the moment, and rightly so. Tampons and sanitary towels are not biodegradable, they're not recyclable, so they basically end up in the sea, which is really gross. So imagine if everybody switched to menstrual cups and how much landfill that would save. So I have read that you can use a moon cup, menstrual cup, for up to 10 years, but I would recommend you googling the brand of menstrual cup that you use, because some of them say you can use them for up to a year and some say up to 10 years. But from what I've read, you can use this up to 10 years, and you're going to have a lot of periods in 10 years. So think about all the money that you are going to save on sanitary products. So let's talk about the product itself. Now I have told you exactly the reasons for me switching. So the moon cup comes in a box that looks like this. So it says moon cup on the front, and they come in different sizes. So there has been a little bit of confusion about this. I had a couple of comments on my Instagram asking why I got size A, and people said that I should have got size B. Just to clarify, size A is for if you have had a normal vaginal birth. So if you've had a baby and given birth naturally, you need to get a size A. It is also for anyone that is age 30 and over. So I am in both of those brackets. I've had a baby naturally and I am 30. Therefore, I have a size A. A size B is for people under 30 that haven't had a baby. So yeah, if you've had a baby by C-section and you're under 30, you can get a size B as well. So I hope that clears that up. I've got a size A because I've had a baby and I'm also 30. And it comes in a box like this. It's got some little instructions on the back there, and it's also got a big instruction booklet on it. On here it's got a few of the little folding techniques on how to get it in, and yeah, it's just got a few bits of information on here about what size you should get and how long you can wear it for. Also in that box is a little bag that you can keep your cup in, which is so good. So when you're obviously not using it, you can pop it in the bag and keep it in your handbag for when you next need it, or keep it in a drawer or your bathroom, and it's nicely tucked away and kept all clean in this bag. Onto the cup, it looks like this. When you get yours, you'll notice that the spout is a little bit longer than this because you do have to trim it. So the spout is not like got a valve in it or anything. I think some people think that this is where like the blood comes out, and you'd think you'd have to like squeeze it to let the blood out or something, but this particular brand, Moon Cup, this isn't a spout for that with a valve. It's to help you get the Moon Cup out of your vagina. There is a brand that does do it with a valve. I think it's called Tulip, but my friend Rebecca Meldrum, also known as Mrs. Meldrum, used one of those, and she had a little bit of a horror story, so I'll link her video below if you want to read about what her horror story was. But it was where something to do with the valve here attaching itself to a bit of her mini, so yeah, a bit uncomfortable. But yeah, rest assured, this bit isn't a valve spout, it's a spout to help you get it out. So it tells you inside the box a few folding techniques to get it in. I think that's probably the biggest worry that people have when they're first using one, is how on earth do you get it in, and is it going to stay? I'll answer the second question first. It's 100% going to stay. This completely sucks to the walls of your vagina, so it literally will create like a suction, and the only way you can get it out and release that is by pulling on this spout and sort of squeezing the bottom of this to release that suction. It comes out really easily, but it's not going to come out from you just walking around or jumping around or anything. So yeah, like I said, it's got a few folding techniques. You kind of have to just work out what works for you best, but I'll show you how I sort of do it. I fold it inwards like this, and then this bit goes up and then it expands and it's in. It's really easy. And then, like I said, to get it out, you just squeeze here and pull on the spout, and then it just releases the suction and comes right out. So as I said, the spout is a little bit longer when you buy it. You do need to fit it and then work out how short you want the spout. You don't want it like sticking out of your bits. You want it to be like nicely kind of tucked away, but long enough for you to pull on. I know some people that completely cut off this spout because they just don't like having that there in case they can feel it, and that's fine because you can just squeeze the bottom, and like I said, it releases the suction. It's just about what works for you. I think a word of advice for using a Moon Cup would be to try it out when you're not actually on your period, so that you can try putting it in and taking it out without it being messy at all. Really isn't as scary as it looks or as it first may seem. I had a couple of comments on the picture that I popped on Instagram when I told you guys that I'd be using a Moon Cup, and a couple of people said that they were worried that it would get lost. I'm not really sure where you think it's gonna get lost. Like, I don't know if you know, but your vagina has a wall to it, so it's not gonna go anywhere. There's only so far it can go, and this is quite big. It's not going to get lost up there, and it really is quite easy to remove. Another query from quite a lot of people was how would they empty it at work, and I think this was one of my first things I thought of, like how would you empty it in a public toilet? You wouldn't want to be standing there at the sink like washing it out. But the truth is, you don't need to. It lasts so long. I can keep this in for up to 10 hours and it's still not full. You will be so shocked about how little blood you actually lose on your period. I cannot believe it. I am so dramatic, and when I'm on my period, I feel really low. I feel like my iron's low. I feel like I'm literally draining blood out of me, and I often say to Scott, literally, I've lost so much blood this month, but I just can't say that now because the proof is shown in my cup. It literally fills up to like there, and that is it. There's hardly anything coming out. I actually googled it, and it said on Google that we lose like 2 teaspoons of blood every period, which is absolutely nothing really. And I think when you're using tampons and towels, it just looks like so much more than it really is. So I wouldn't be worried at all about using this at work because you just wouldn't need to empty it. And if you did, for peace of mind, or if you really needed to, you could take it out, wipe it out with tissue or wet wipes, or even take some bottled water into the cubicle with you and just like wash it out like that. And yeah, it would be easy, but you really wouldn't need to empty it. You can obviously go to the toilet and have a wee with this in without it affecting it at all. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Somebody else asked me if you can sleep with it in. You can 100% sleep with it in. I prefer not to sleep with tampons in, even though I really hate towels, but just because sometimes I'm going to be in bed longer than 8 hours and I do worry about toxic shock syndrome. So yeah, but you can leave this in all night and then take it out in the morning and empty it. I obviously empty it before I go to bed, so it's nice and empty and clean before I go to sleep, and then empty it in the morning. So I haven't been using the Moon Cup for a great length of time yet, but I can already say it's absolutely changed my life. I felt so much more comfortable on my period this cycle. I just felt like it wasn't there at all. I obviously had the normal period symptoms on the first few days. I had PMT and I was moody and miserable, but after a couple of days I totally forgot I was on my period, and I actually found that my period was shorter. And I don't know if that's a coincidence, it's something I'm going to monitor over the next few cycles, but I just had a period for like 4 days, which for me is really not a lot. I'm normally a solid week, if not a little bit longer, and it wasn't that long at all, and I was quite surprised when I'd finished it. I don't know if that's anything to do with this cup, but it just seemed to go a lot quicker. I felt really comfortable with it in. I was able to do exercise, which sometimes I just don't want to do when I'm on my period using tampons or towels. But with this, I did loads of jumping around, and I did a clubber-sized class and some running and some weights, and I just felt really comfortable, and it felt in place and I felt secure. It doesn't leak whatsoever. Really can't recommend it enough. I feel like I want to convert everyone. I've already told all of my closest friends all the intimate details, and I really hope that I've convinced you to either try it or completely convert. If you do try it because of my video, do let me know in the comments below. Or if you've had any bad experiences with it, I would like to know. I don't know if you could really have a bad experience, but anyway, do let me know if you try it or if you want to try it. If you've got any more questions or concerns, then I would love to answer them. Yeah. I'm going to stop waffling now and stop talking about periods and get back to normality. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!